This presentation will highlight the new design and functionality of the OIRA enrollment dashboard. In the future, similar functionality and design will be included in other dashboards as well. Before beginning, I want to summarize what dashboards are and their overarching purpose. For NC Central community members, individuals may use the dashboards for their own idiosyncratic purposes or not even be aware they exist. So it's important to ensure that we're all on the same page. At their core, a dashboard is a visual display of key metrics and information relevant to an institution, which provide an overview of the institution's performance and operations. One of the major purposes of a dashboard is to distill complex data into easily interpretable formats, by which I mean tables, figures, charts, and so on. Additionally, dashboards should also be interactive so that users can apply different filters to answer different questions about the data that they have. Both of these concepts are necessary for dashboards in order to meet the needs of users. Here at NC Central, the OIRA dashboards should ideally be the first stop for individuals seeking key information related to the university. These individuals can be faculty and staff, potential students, or even possibly external entities such as local governments, agencies, and so on. A major goal of our dashboards is to alleviate the number of team dynamics requests that we receive. Typically, individuals with data requests will submit a ticket through the Team Dynamics app to our office, which is perfectly acceptable. However, our stated policy is to give ourselves up to 14 days to complete a ticket. It's quite common, however, for many of these data requests to be answered using our dashboards. And so we want well-functioning and popular dashboards that users can use in order to answer their data request questions in a timely manner. So this concludes my short spiel on what dashboards are more broadly. I'm now going to shift to demonstrating the new enrollment dashboard. All right. If you are familiar with the old format of our dashboards, and this format may look a little bit different, but I'll go through the differences and new functionality that is offered. For enrollment, there are several different pages pertaining to different aspects about enrollment that we'll touch on. Each page, though, has three major components that I'll highlight now. The first is the summary banner up top, which provides an overview of information pertaining to stuff on the page itself. This way, if an individual were to quickly glance at a page or just the summary banner, they would be able to get a general idea of the information presented. The second component are the filters that are listed here on the left side of the screen. Each page typically has about 13. They're usually the same filters, and this offers users ways to filter the data based on the specific questions they may have. I am going to, for now, avoid talking about this Show Applied button, which is currently a work in progress and may not be in the final product once we make this enrollment filter public. The final component are the visuals themselves, the tables and figures or graphs. When users are interested in applying different filters here, for example, if I wanted to assess enrollment data for fall 2021 semester, by clicking on this, the data in both the figures as well as the summary banner are immediately updated to reflect this applied filter. You can apply as many filters as you want. For example, in addition to sorting by fall 2021 semester, you may also be interested in just undergraduate students, in which case you can deselect graduate students, and once again, the data will update accordingly. Notice that for some of these categories, certain items are no longer visible. For example, there are no undergraduate doctoral students, so this no longer even appears as an option under class level. If you care to reset or revert your filters, you can simply select all. For semester, you can only select one semester at a time, whereas for other filters, you can select multiple options if you so choose. For example, in ethnicity and race, if you are interested in, say, white and Asian students, these options are allowed. And again, the numbers will then be updated based on the filters that have been applied. If you're interested in additional information, for example, demographics, you can select that tab and it will take you to this page instead. Note that the filters I applied on the previous page are carried over here. So just be aware of that as you go from page to page. Here, I'm just going to reset the filters to include all ethnicity and races and revert to fall 2024 semester. For the reside page, again, we have the common bar plot figures, but we also have the inclusion of maps, specifically the continental US, as well as the state of North Carolina. A nice feature about the enrollment and other dashboards in general is that if you hover over certain fields, you will see additional information that may not necessarily be presented by default. For example, when looking at the in-state residency section, we can also see the name of the county that we're looking at, whereas normally it's only the values that are presented to avoid overly cluttering this graphic. But if you are interested in getting the information of that county, it will provide it for you here. Next is the academic majors page. Here on the left, we have typical looking bar plots denoting the different departments by student headcount. However, in the middle, we have a table for the majors that have students based on their department assignments. As you can see, this is a rather long list or table of majors. However, in an attempt to not make this table overly long, only majors that have a student headcount of 1 or greater, based on the applied filters that you've selected on the left side, will show up in this major table. That way, you are not having to look at different majors that might have 0 students based on the filters. Now, given how much information is here, each table like this will have a corresponding bar plot that will show the top 10 items of that category, in this specific case for majors. A useful page is the fall trends, which can give trend information going all the way back to 2009 through current day. If, for example, you were interested in seeing the enrollment of white students during this period, you can do so by selecting that filter and seeing the updated information presented. Now, unlike all the other pages in the enrollment filter, here for semester, you can select multiple values as opposed to only one, though oftentimes people are interested in seeing the trends dating as far back as possible. We go back to 2009 as that is the farthest back that the data source on which this dashboard relies on goes to. The next page pertains to students who are specifically classified as new transfers, who came from somewhere else and now are at NCCU. On the left side, we have a table denoting the origin of transfers of these students, which college they came from before arriving at NC Central. And below is a corresponding bar plot of the top 10 origins of these transfer students. Over on the right, we have the majors that these transfer students are currently enrolled in, and underneath is another corresponding bar plot of these majors. Again, you can select filters as you see fit. The last page of interest are the concentrations, where certain majors may have a concentration option or possibly no concentration at all. Like the other tables, only majors and concentrations that have a student count of at least 1 are included. Over on the right, we have the corresponding bar plot. However, in this case, we are only including concentrations that are not specifically no concentration. So this information, in terms of the student count, might look slightly different than the table. We can again continue looking at different filters. As you can see, the filter that I applied back on the fall trends is still here. So I'll reset it to include all, which again changes the information quite a bit. In the future, many of our dashboards will likely have this type of design and functionality of having a summary banner at the top, filter selections on the left side, and all visuals, such as tables and figures, in the center. Now, a major aspect of OIRA is to assist community members of NCCU. And so if individuals have additional information they would like to see, whether that's new visuals, potentially different filter options, please do reach out. We cannot necessarily guarantee that these will be applied to our dashboards, but it at least gives us a sense of what our users are requesting. Thank you for your time.